Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video we're taking a look at how to crochet the center single crochet stitch, which is also known as the waistcoat stitch or knit stitch. Before we begin, I wanted to show you guys a finished piece that uses the center single crochet stitch. So you can see here that you can do some really lovely things with color work with this stitch, and you can also see how similar it looks to the stockinette knit stitch. A couple things about this stitch is that it should always be worked in the round. Another is that it's just like completing a single crochet stitch, except for where you place your hook as you're making the stitch. As we take a look at the inside, you can see that it is nice and neat. As long as you hold your color work floats along the back side evenly, you should end up with a really nice and neat piece. Now, of course, not every pattern that uses center single crochet is going to use more than one color. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to complete the stitch in terms of where to place your hook, what it looks like to complete it, and the anatomy of the stitch itself. Before you begin, you should already be familiar with completing a standard single crochet stitch. We want to start by making a magic circle. If you're not familiar with this technique, I'll put a link to a more in-depth tutorial about this below. We make a chain to kind of complete the magic circle. I'm just going to remove the tail so it's not twisted inside. And then now what I want to do is put 6 single crochet stitches. This is just for example purposes. So you would want to, while you're doing this stitch, follow whatever your pattern says. I'm just doing 6 as a base because that's normal for single crochet in a circle. You would typically start with about that amount. But again, it's just for tutorial purposes. You could theoretically put any number of stitches into the magic circle. Okay, so now we just want to bring the stitches together a bit. I'm not going to really pinch it closed tightly. I want to leave some space there until we're a few rounds in, just because it will make it much easier on you as you work those beginning rounds. To close this, I always do it from the back. So you can see what I did is I just flipped my work over, and then we're going to be working into this part of the stitch there. So what I'm going to do is insert my hook as I normally would, and I am just slip stitching from the back side, pulling the loop through from the front to the back. And what this is doing is putting the seam on the inside of your work. So rather than having a big, really noticeable line, we're trying to make it as hidden as possible. Here's the first stitch that we're going to be working into. Let's begin by chaining 1, and then we're going to take a really close look at exactly where we're going to be putting our hook. So the reason this is called the center single crochet is because you do go into the center of the stitch. So there's our first stitch, and we are going to be inserting our hook in between the front legs there of the stitch. So you can see the V of the stitch. Typically single crochet is worked under the top 2 loops, but instead we are going to be putting our hook here. Okay, so again, when you're making a normal single crochet, you would go under the top 2 loops like that, but that is not what we're doing. You are going into the front of that first stitch, right in the middle, and you're going through it. So you insert your hook. Let's take a look at what the back looks like so you can check that yours looks the same. Okay, and then we're going to turn it back over, and we're just going to single crochet now as usual. One of the most difficult things about doing this stitch is getting the tension right. So what you want to do is pull up on your hook as you go to complete every stitch and make sure that it's not too tight. You want the stitches to look puffy and to be loose enough for you to get your hook into the center of it when you do the next round. So we're going to be increasing into every stitch around because that's the best way to evenly grow this circle, but you will want to be following your pattern that you're using. Again, this tutorial is more about how to complete the stitch, where to put your hook, what it looks like, all of that. This is not a tutorial for the number of stitches you should be doing. So here's my next one. We're going to increase again. It's going to be an increase into every stitch around. And so there's the center of the stitch. I'm just inserting my hook. Again, here's what it looks like from the back side. And then we're going to finish the single crochet as usual. This is also called the waistcoat stitch. I would imagine that people used to use this to make coats because it is very dense. The fabric that you create with this does not have a lot of elasticity, like I said earlier. So it's just something to be mindful of, making sure that you're using the stitch for the right project. It's a great stitch for decorative purposes, not so much for practical uses, like a hat or anything that you want to have a little bit of ease to it. If you have any questions, please comment below and I'll do my best to help you. I'll also put a link in the description box to a photo and written tutorial. I know those are really helpful for some people that are just wanting the close-up shots. In my next video, I'm going to be posting a tutorial for how to make this really cute holiday gnome that just so happens to use the center single crochet stitch. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye!